Hey guys, how's it going out there today? Hope things are great for you. If you're first time visitors to the channel, thank you very much. Appreciate it truly. And if you're a repeat viewer, thank you guys for dropping by as well. Love it when we get both at the channel. It's great things, good things going on at the channel these days, just gradually growing away, getting bigger, daily content every single day. If you're interested, it's 7 p.m. Japan time that we drop this content every single day. And today what we've got is an Adidas sneaker. It's great to bring this guy. And you can see it behind me here. It's sort of panning across the screen, the green screen, where we've got the three different colorways from today's Stan Smith sneaker from the Adidas line. But if instead of doing that, we sort of quickly go pop and pop it out into a larger picture, you can actually see it's 6 shoes and not 3. But today what we're focusing in on is the 3 lower pairs of the Stan Smiths. The higher pairs on there, which have a bit more color to them, are campus, and maybe we'll do them another day. But for today, we're focusing on these 3 colorways from the Stan Smith line. And it's human made as a collaboration, not human race. And we'll get into all that later, that Pharrell Williams stuff, Nego, things like that in this video. But what it is, you know, I'll set it up right now, tell you what's going on today is we're taking a detailed look, a close-up look at all 3 of the colorways that are coming out real soon for the Adidas human made Stan Smith collaboration. This is a Tokyo about the 23 Sneaker Channel, Tokyo about the 23 Sneaker Channel des. Mainichi Yapsuru de, Mainichi Mite Kudasai. And every single day from Japan, I bring you content about upcoming sneaker releases, sneaker news, and sneaker reviews. And today it's the Adidas Stan Smith Human Made that we're taking a close-up look at today. 3 different colorways, very interesting details on there. Some stuff that's been changed out from the original sort of silhouette of Stan Smith, which is an iconic shoe. But what it isn't is a 50-year-old superstar. The superstars, let's put the Pradas up. Bang, there's a silver Prada, because that's one of the bigger drops on the superstar this year. The superstars are 50 years old, a silhouette that has just stood the test of time. Incredible that that shoe has just been ploughing on for that long, and most of the big drops from the Adidas line this year are dropping on those superstars because of that 50th anniversary. For some reason, human made, and their designer, their owner, their creative force, Nego, a Japanese DJ and fashion designer and entrepreneur and all tons of different things. Man, he does many things. Decided instead of going where everybody else is going with their collaborations at Adidas on the Superstar line, he said, right, I'm going to do a Stan Smith. I'm going to make some changes on there. I'm going to do some unique things. I'm going to promote my own brand, human made, not human race, as I said already earlier. So Nego is the creative force behind this collaboration. And there's a few things to talk about in relation to the shoe, you know, and the details on it. Like I said, it's not Pharrell Williams and the human race line. Let's bring up the human race original colorways. I talk about this often when I talk about Pharrell Williams. I loved these guys, the NMD R1 original solid blocking color, not the trail outsole on there. I loved them. I thought it was a really unique step forward in shoes, something I'd never seen before. It was like, wow, Adidas have really gotten innovative and they've really paid dividends on that. Gradually, as they brought out different silhouettes and changed up the patterning and changed up the blocking on the shoe, it gradually kind of lost its sort of way, and it never really got it back again. And the place it kind of sort of lost its way for the very first time was right here, and that's the Billionaire Boys Club, Pharrell Williams, Adidas, a human race, NMDR1, all mashed in there together. I actually bought that shoe for quite a lot of money, expecting it to be a great video. You know, I did a whole, you know, on foot kind of unboxing review of the shoe, and it basically tanked. It did not go anywhere fast, and it was one of the earliest videos I'd made, one of the earliest disasters in buying shoes and in making videos for YouTube that I made. But you know, and that the Billionaire Boys Club, that's got a sort of tie-ins with the Nego as well. So when it comes to human made, people kind of often assume that the Pharrell Williams Nego tie-up in that kind of side of things is also repeated on the human made side of things, but it's not really. The human made is a Nego and you know, business, a standalone sort of thing. There is a sort of huge segue. I mean, if you don't know who Nego is, and like, I mean, other than what I just said, he's also the creative force behind Bape, a bathing ape in lukewarm water, I think is the full title of the brand. And most people out there will know who Bape is. So, so Nego, big, you know, personality here in Japan. He's one of those kind of elusive guys. You don't see him very often. You don't see him social media or at events and things like that. But he's got some of the biggest brands out there, especially in the last last 10 years, his tie-up with Pharrell Williams has been very profitable for both of them. And then through that, it looks like Nigo is bringing his human-made line to Adidas, and that's probably in some way at least been helped by Pharrell Williams, but the actual tie-up between the two isn't as solid as it would have been with something like Bape and that kind of thing. So with that being said, we're going to get into the shoe in a minute, but the very last thing to talk about is looking at the whole shoe. It's not Comme des Garçons. I think Comme des Garçons did was it a dunk? Nike dunk that they did, and hopefully it's behind me here on the screen right now, not in the not too distant past. A red heart with sort of funky looking eyes as their brand or their style, the Comme des Garçons. And then if you look at these guys, red heart, it's almost, my first instinct was, is that Comme des Garçons? And then zoom in and it says human made on the side there, so it actually isn't. But I think people could be forgiven for making that mistake and actually thinking, because one of the more recent shoes from the Nike line using that red heart was the Comme des Garçons, then making that mistake. But no, let's stay with that though, and what we'll do is that red heart's worth looking at, so we'll go zooming in on that red heart. It looks like just a standard piece of branding on the side, but it's unique in two particular ways. And then it's unique in one sort of way across all three shoes. So the way it's unique in in and of itself, shall we say, is that it's actually embedded within the upper. It's not laid on top of it. Often branding or styling and all those kind of things is laid on top of it, either as a print or as a separate piece of material. But hopefully you're able to see somehow here, either straight on or from the side, that it's actually embedded in the upper. And you can see that it's a little bit lower down than the upper itself. That's important because that lets them do away with the ventilation holes that you usually see on the side of a Stan Smith. So because of that sort of open heart that sort of gives a bit of air and a bit of airflow into the shoe, then the ventilation holes could be gone. And then across, and that's looking at one shoe, but if I flip out whichever shoe's up there for another one of them, you'll be able to see that it is red across all three shoes, which brings us on to the colorway, because there's two white ones. So here's the white and the green one, because that's, if anybody says Stan Smith Adidas, you think of white and green shoes. I mean, that's really the standard look at the shoe, and we'll get back to what isn't standard on these guys in a minute. But that's colorway number one, white and green. And then if I flip it out very quickly to grey, it's basically the same shoe, but the green detailing is changed to grey. So you can't really call it a grey shoe. It's a white shoe. It's just a detailing on there, but we call it grey just to make it easier to sort of distinguish between the two. So green, grey. But then when we get to black, you can see that A is all black instead of white on the upper, and B, they didn't go with the contrast on the heel and the tongue that you do see. If we say go back to the greys, you can see that the white and then the branding points are in grey. Back to the black ones, black, but black also for the branding points in there, which is kind of a unique feature of the shoe. And it gives it's a bit like, actually, it's a bit like the Pharrell Williams Superstars. I'll pop a picture of those two up here, because there were some details on those shoes that were similar between the two and some that were different, and it's kind of similar to that, the way that they've done this with the two different things. And what's also similar to is the Yohji Yamamoto, also another Japanese designer. Usually with the Adidas line he'll do 3D printed outsoles, well not usually but often, and he brought out recently a Superstar packet as well, which had 3 shoes in it, and 2 were sort of similar colorways and one was very different. And then if you come back to today's shoes, you can see that the 2 white ones are very similar, and then the black one is its own sort of unique shoe. But then talking about those branding points on there, the 2 main things to look at is the back of the shoe. Now, anything official out there will have shown you this all that I'm showing you here. I don't know which colorway I'm doing it on, but you can see the heel there, and there's a couple of points about that heel and that all on there. Point number 1 is that usually the Stan Smiths, the branding comes down a lot lower and is a lot rounder on the heel, and you can see this here is a lot higher up in the thinner sort of strip on there, and usually it has Adidas on there, and I think usually the trefoil branding as well. But you can see in the case of these guys here, the branding cell itself is a lot thinner, and then instead of having Adidas up there, they've got all, and you can't see what's on the other side of that. But anything official has been very difficult to see the other side of that, and it took me a long time to find out what was on there. Hopefully I'll be able to put a picture, and I'll find find it again because maybe I can't find it again. But it's dry, and it's dry all is the brand. And you see the little R beside the all there, it's like a registered trademark, and that's to do with the human-made T-shirts and things like that, the apparel side of things. So that says dry all on there. So if you've been wondering why has it got all on one side, what's on the other side? So alls is the end of two words. It's separated by a space, dry space, alls, and then that registered trademark on the side. And the final thing about that is the interesting font they've decided to use in that particular place. Now, it's the colour with the writing on top of it, and it's exactly mimicked in that same way. So whatever colour I've got up now, I'll keep to that and go to the tongues. And you can see it's the same, I don't know, the same pattern or the same basic style in terms of what the base colour is, and then the colour of the font there. And the font itself is the same as the font on the heel, but instead of saying dry alls or something else human-made or whatever, it just straight up says Adidas. And so that makes sense, of course, but it's interesting in one respect because they've gone away with the Stan Smith branding that would normally be there, that would include Stan Smith's face himself, and it just says very simply Adidas across the tongues there in that kind of unique font. And then coming back out to look at whichever one, whichever shoe I haven't shown enough on this video, I'll bring it up, whether it's the grey, the green or the black. I'll bring that up as a final look at the lateral side again. Really nice looking pair of shoes. I don't know very much about what they're going to do out there. They're dropping on July the 25th, and I'm not sure if this is one of those shoes that people will be interested in or not, especially when most people, for that standard kind of old-fashioned Adidas look, are going for superstars this year instead of Stan Smiths. But it's Nigo, and usually anything that Nigo does, other than those Billionaire Boys Club, Pharrell Williams, Human Race, NMDR ones, they tend to do fairly well. They might do well here in Japan, being a Japanese designer, but I'm not sure. But it's interesting to see them coming up, these three things. And like I said, there's the campuses as well, which are a very different sort of kettle of fish, a whole lot more colour on there, and equally some unique detailing on them as well. So maybe I'll get to them another day. For now, though, it's time for me to sign off. Thank you guys for checking out the content. I do this every single day, man. It's great to talk about shoes every single day, but it is also hard having a full-time job and a young family. But we get through it every day, and right now we're trucking along towards the 600th consecutive day, which isn't too far away. But for now, time to sign off. Thank you guys for checking out the content. But because I do this every single day, that means that you are guaranteed to see me tomorrow.